Chris Coons from Delaware. He serves on the Foreign Relations and the Judiciary Committee, so you are a busy man, and you are very relevant to us today to talk to about all of this. Okay, Susan Rice, what you've just heard from Jim Sciutto's reporting, is this business as usual, or was there something controversial about how the name of someone on Team Trump got out into the public sphere?
Well, Allison, from what I've heard, just on the reporting you covered there, there's nothing unusual or alarming about the allegations here about the National Security Advisor. But that's why we need the Senate Intelligence Committee to work well, to work hard, and to work in a bipartisan way. There were also allegations earlier this week that the UAE set up a back channel between a Putin crony and the founder of Blackwater. There's more shoes dropping day after day, more smoke pouring out of every window, door, and chimney of this House than we can keep track of. We need a solid bipartisan investigation of all the different allegations about this. An important point here, Allison, is that the White House keeps trying to find some way to justify President Trump's tweet from a month ago that he had been wiretapped. I don't think this provides any sort of cover for that. And given the very important developments this week, President Trump's meetings with the president of Egypt, with the king of Jordan, with the president of China, this isn't reality TV anymore. This is no time for Twitter diplomacy. We need to focus on our work here in the Senate, and the president needs to focus on important international diplomacy issues.
One more question, Senator, about what happened with Susan Rice. If this was business as usual, if this was a customary practice where when you read an intel report and you see an American identified only as, say, American 1, and your curiosity is aroused that you would ask for the name to be unmasked, if it was business as usual, why didn't Susan Rice disclose that or even be straightforward about that in the past week or two when she was on PBS and she said basically something to the effect of, no, I don't know anything about that?
Well, Allison, I didn't see her PBS interview. Obviously, this is a topic that is subject to a number of controls. There are processes by which an intelligence official can request unmasking, but as your previous reporter commented, that is very closely tracked. And so she would have had to articulate an intelligence justification for doing that. This is exactly why we need a strong and thorough investigation to make sure that where there are allegations made, they're thoroughly investigated. I am hopeful about the progress here in the Senate with our Intelligence Committee. I remain very concerned that given Congressman Devin Nunes's little side scurry over to the White House 2 weeks ago, that the House Intelligence Committee has gotten badly off track, and I hope they too get back to our core mission in the Senate and House of oversight.
Okay, let's talk about Judge Gorsuch's confirmation to the Supreme Court. As you know, the nuclear option is now very real, where forevermore, or at least breaking precedent, he will only need 51 votes as opposed to 60 because, as you know, the Democrats filibustered and blocked his nomination. Aren't you guys cutting off your noses to spite your face? Because you're standing on principle here because of what happened with Merrick Garland, but then going forward, the next judge might be even less appealing to you than Judge Gorsuch, and then you're going to lose this again when only 51 Republicans are needed to install that person.
That's right, Allison. That's a very legitimate concern. If we look down the road, the further erosion of the system here in the Senate that has kept us different from the House, the erosion of the protections for minority political rights of the filibuster would be, I think, a very grave step. We've got just 2 days now until the cloture vote. What that really means is that we are ready to stop debate and to move to a final vote. I said in the Judiciary Committee yesterday that I intend to vote against cloture because I don't think we are yet ready to close debate. I will vote against cloture unless we are able to find some way together, Republicans and Democrats, to preserve the tradition of consultation and of the nomination by the president of a consensus candidate who can win confirmation by both parties. That didn't happen in this case. President Trump largely relied on the Federalist Society and Heritage Foundation for his list of nominees.
Yeah, but he's filling a conservative seat. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, you're talking about lots of sort of formal terms that I don't know that Americans know about, sort of all of the Byzantine workings of how it works in the Senate. However, in simple math, Gorsuch would be filling a conservative seat. So why are you digging in on this one?
Well, Allison, as I think I just repeated, I'm not digging in. I'm saying that I am open to conversations about how we might preserve the filibuster. There's three paths forward here. And now it's clear to the Republican majority that if they choose to break the rules, to change the rules, that will be on them. There are Democrats and Republicans who I hope will be talking this week in the next 2 days to see if we can find some path forward where we preserve the filibuster for exactly the reasons you're laying out. But they can break the rules and force Judge Gorsuch onto the court. They can step back and recognize this is an historic moment now that it's clear that both sides have the votes and we need to have a conversation. Or they can consult with us and reconsider Judge Gorsuch's nomination. Those are the three paths, and it's my hope that the Senate will play its historic role and that folks here will be talking in the next 2 days.
Okay, we'll be very interested to hearing the results of those conversations. Senator Chris Coons, thank you, as always, for being on New Day.
Thank you, Alice.